There will be no phoning, no phone calls, zero.
Right.
This business operates high tech,
Yeah.
and actually it is much more efficient,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah. Let me just a disclaimer again. Like we
Okay.
don't obviously if there is a there are a lot of technical support.
Right.
We don't leave customers hanging.
Right.
Like I'm super proud of our customer service. That's the single thing that's made us so successful.
We're not going to talk about this as a family-friendly interview YouTube here
Right.
in beautiful Yale Town. So you grew up in Sweden, in
Yeah, I was
Stockholm?
born in Malmo,
Malmo, okay.
yeah, which is a small city. It's kind of a twin city with Copenhagen.
The stars fall like diamond teardrops.
And you came to where in Canada?
Well, first I came to Montreal. 'Cause
Okay.
It was a job thing, right?
Okay.
So I was working in Sweden as a professor of chemistry.
Oh, okay.
After my PhD in chemistry, I went to California for 2 years to do some research
Okay.
in chemistry and biology. And yeah, it was wonderful years where I really got this urge to do something big. Because in California, especially at the Stanford University where I was at,
Wow.
everybody's going to change the world, right?
Right, that whole
To
track?
be honest, I just loved, at that time, I think I just liked being a good student.
Okay.
It was very rewarding. Good grades, you get diplomas, you get a pat on the back. So, in very short,
Okay.
we all have these chromosomes,
Okay.
and they're made of DNA.
Okay.
And
So we get all the way there, right?
with as we go older, these chromosomes, the very end of these chromosomes, goes shorter
Okay.
because of damage, and it's just a programming
Okay.
of the cells.
Okay.
So every time a cell divides, the DNA gets a little shorter. And when the DNA gets to a certain length, the chromosomes get to a certain length, the cell recognizes it. Oh, it's time to say bye-bye.
Okay.
And it's to protect the actual DNA.
Okay.
So if these ends get too short, then the actual DNA may become damaged and cause all kind of defects, as happens when we grow old and so on. So there's actually a programming in the cell that says tells us, let's kill this cell. But what we developed a method then to actually create a molecule that would extend this DNA. So as it gets shorter, well, we kind of reverse that the process by adding a DNA molecule that would actually go in and extend that DNA again. So I did that for 2 years. I went back and I got a scholarship as a young professor at Lund University to start my own research group.
Okay.
So I started my own little team where we were working on my ideas, so that I brought with me back from. Unfortunately, though, after a couple of years, it was a pretty bad time in Sweden for research funding.
Okay.
So a lot of people got cut.
Okay.
A lot of new people didn't get positions. I decided to apply for positions, universities at other places in the world. So I did a little research, and I applied in Prague in the Czech Republic. I applied at McGill in Montreal.
Uh-huh.
I applied at Gothenburg University in Sweden.
Stanford, you said, opened up your eyes to seeing you could have big dreams, big aspirations, could be part of something.
Yeah, I could create something.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something I should have pointed out sooner, that a lot of the drive was creativity, right? Because I've always been a creative person. I came back to Sweden, and a few days later I signed an agreement with McGill, right? And on that very afternoon, after I signed the agreement, I get a message from Prague saying they want to hire me too, but then after 2 years there, I just knew my heart wasn't in it. And it was not what I was going to do the rest of my life. So I remember it very clearly. And also, I have no hard feelings, but the academic life is a special life. And you have to, it's very political. fit in a box. I was told I couldn't teach in a certain way. I was told I couldn't talk to certain donors in a certain way. And I didn't talk in a bad way. It's just you couldn't be totally honest with me.
Your academic chapter of life came to an end.
Yeah, I went into they had invested a lot of money in me, in my lab. So it wasn't an easy thing to do, to go in and say, hey, I know you put millions of dollars into my career, but you know what? I'm out of here. But that's what I did. Yeah.
Okay. So
I took on a whole different direction in my life, so I don't have any...
What were you going to do? Do you remember back then? What were you thinking? This isn't mine anymore.
Right.
It had its rewards. I accomplished some things, etc. But now I'm going in another direction. What direction were you going in? Where did you want to take the next step?
Well, here's the thing. When I did this, when I told people I was going to do this, everybody told me I was crazy.
Right.
But then I realized a little later that I was a little crazy because it wasn't as easy. I told myself, well, I have a little money saved up, in a year or so, in a year, I'll probably have another job where I'll make at least as much money, maybe double.
Okay.
Didn't turn out that way.
Where did you think that job would be? What area of? No idea. Okay.
Like, I already started thinking about online thing,
Okay.
but nothing had, and but yeah, it was a hard time, and I always thought I can always get another job, right?
Right.
Well, that wasn't true. Very, very difficult time in my life.
Okay.
To realize, again, with accolades, I'd been on top of the world, right? Everybody wants you.
Right.
All of a sudden, nobody wants you, and I'm talking nobody.
It's quiet. It's dark.
Nobody. I couldn't even get a job stocking shelves like some DVD store, right? It was just a hard time right then for work. Life-changing experience, man. Because I would say I was a bit of a materialist. Like I like shopping and nice things. That all changed then,
Right.
Like I still like nice things, but I still like nice things, but for different reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You can live without them now.
Absolutely.
But you still have an appreciation for them. The music come into your life. What?
Well, music has always been. You asked me about my childhood. How that was, right? And music has always been a big part of me, right?
Okay.
I always felt like I felt music deeper than all my friends. But there was no role model. There was nobody who played any instrument. I thought you had to be some kind of genius. In the beginning, it was mostly my dad's record collection. Okay. That was most Elvis Presley, right?
Ah, okay.
But then, yeah, it just turned into all kinds of music. I did get my mom to get me a guitar when I was 9 years old, or something. And I remember we went to a teacher, and I still remember his apartment to this day. Messy, horrible. And the first thing he told me when I was putting the guitar, he said, "Oh, I can't teach you. Your hands are too small." It took me a long time to get over that. Right?
Sure.
What a horrible thing as a teacher
my music career.
Yeah. I just think it's a horrible thing to tell.
Yeah, anybody.
It was did that, right?
Well, think about it, Marcus. From your story, what we're learning here is you went through that academic time when it was a big deal, recognized by you, to be affirmed, to get that diploma, to get that kind of, and then you decide this world is not for me anymore.
Right.
This is not healthy for me.
Right.
When you're at McGill, right?
Right.
Then you go to where nobody. I mean, it's like a culture shock. Nobody's around to affirm because people don't affirm real people that are going through real adjustments in their life.
That's a great point.
Professor, you can do no wrong.
No.
You can do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. You can have all the resources at your feet because that's a focus point of human worship.
Yeah.
But when you're just you, you discover, do I have any friends?
Yeah, exactly.
Do I know anybody?
Right.
Is there any door opening here? Is there any...
Well, I think you build confidence throughout your life from your accomplishments.
Okay.
So at that point, I had, looking at my CV and my life looked pretty good.
Right.
It's like I've always had this sense of I can accomplish anything, right?
Sure.
But to do it in music, maybe it would be like learning about reading music. Then I was like, hey, I should be able to write some music too. So I started taking some online classes,
Okay.
learning about how to write music, and then it's not that complicated actually. You just need a little time to study and the passion to do it. Learn how to read music.
Okay. Did you start composing then?
No idea of composing.
No
at
idea.
all.
Nothing.
But when I started reading music and learning music theory, and it just clicked. It's like, oh, here's a perfect combination of like, let's say, intellectual, the science behind music, the theory, how music works, right? Reading music, and then the creative part of me, actually expressing yourself, you know. So it's like a beautiful combination of things. That's when I felt that magic from something I had created by myself. It just moved me so deeply, and I said, if I can do this once, I can do it again, and I can get better at it.
Title for it?
I actually think, a reworked version is actually on my album.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's like that's actually interesting.
Okay.
That's actually the first song I wrote.
So the
actually
first
ended
one.
up on my album after I wrote hundreds more, right? So that's interesting. I almost forgot about that. Yeah.
What was special about it?
And that's what's it called? Christmas on the Moon, I think. It's
Christmas
called.
on the
It's actually
Moon.
A song about that feeling at Christmas when you feel like there's joy, you have everything.
Right.
Christmas is a beautiful time, abundance.
Right.
But there's almost everybody has one piece of the puzzle missing. You're missing
Right.
someone that can't be there.
Right.
Maybe somebody passed away.
Right.
Maybe somebody's on the other side of the world.
Right.
And you have all these things to be grateful for.
Right.
But you're still looking out the window and thinking about
Somebody.
a piece of the puzzle missing.
Yeah. And it's got how many recordings on it? How many pieces are on that album?
12.
12.
Yeah.
And
it's a concept album.
okay.
So it tells a story. It pretty much tells a story of the journey I've been through in my life, musically. So
It's all music. There are no lyrics to.
there are 2 songs with a singer. There's a singer.
Okay.
One of the great opera singers in Canada,
Wow.
Anya Haynar. Yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, I was blessed when I asked her if she wanted to sing, and she said yes. And it's also one of the best pianists on there, and a really great cellist, a friend of mine that lives here in Vancouver. And so great musicians, right?
And is this the one that's available on Spotify, or is it? How do people get a hold of it? I mean, is it iTunes?
Actually, it's available right here.
Is it?
This is for you. I brought one cover
Oh,
for you.
thank
Yeah.
you very much. That's fabulous.
But yeah, it's available on Spotify.
I was actually, and I'm
I
looking
really
forward
appreciate
to
the time with you too.
Putting this together, and thank you for watching and for
a real good man.
Thank you, Marcus, for taking some time today to share a part of your story. And thank you for watching, each one of you watching these videos and being part of my life. And together, you and me, we are sharing life's great adventure. Every day, we're doing what we can with what we have, where we are, to make the world just a little bit better for somebody. It's a good purpose. For me, personally, it's helping as many people in general, but specifically good small business owners, travel, and inspiration, so that together we make the best possible choices every day. See you soon.